The 1953 incident was ruled suicide, but the evidence told a very different story. It is late November 1953. A tired biochemist arrives in a Manhattan hotel alone. He checks in under his own name. He goes to the window of the 13th floor room. He is found dead on the sidewalk below. The city labels it a suicide. Government files call it closure. Friends call it inexplicable. Frank Olson was a civilian biochemist employed at Fort Detrick, Maryland, working for the U.S. Army Biological Warfare Laboratories and consulting with the Central Intelligence Agency. He had handled dangerous agents and secret briefs. The year is 1953. The Cold War is raw. The United States fears Soviet mind control after Korean War prisoner interrogations. The CIA launches a shadow program. It is called MKUltra. Sidney Gottlieb leads it. According to declassified memos, the program's mandate is simple and brutal. Find a drug, a technique, anything that can control a human mind. In mid-November 1953, Olson attended a confidential meeting at a retreat near Deep Creek, Lake, Maryland, hosted by the CIA's technical services staff. Participants were told they were testing truth drugs. Witnesses later testified that Olson became agitated after the meeting. He told colleagues he had been secretly dosed with LSD. He left Maryland. He flew to New York. On November 28, 1953, he was dead. The official report called it suicide. The coroner pronounced blunt force trauma consistent with a fall. But what investigators found next would change everything. 2 decades later, during the 1975 Church Committee hearings into intelligence abuses, MKUltra emerged into daylight. Declassified documents revealed something grotesque. The CIA had run safe houses in San Francisco where sex workers lured unwitting subjects. Agents watched behind one-way glass as men were dosed and observed. Experiments were run on prisoners, psychiatric patients, and agency employees without consent. Sidney Gottlieb's program used LSD administered in coffee, on cigarettes, on envelopes, sometimes to people who had no idea they were being experimented upon. Olson's widow, Alice, learned the truth from those hearings. Her husband had been dosed. In 1975, the government quietly settled with the Olson family for $750,000 and issued a written apology. To many, it felt like an admission. To others, a price for silence. In 1973, CIA Director Richard Helms ordered many MKUltra files destroyed. Whole swathes of documentation vanished. Prosecutors later said that the destruction made it impossible to reconstruct much of what had occurred. Evidence that might have explained why a biochemist would end up on a Manhattan sidewalk simply wasn't there. Decades moved forward. In 1994, the Olson family pressed for answers. They had Frank's body exhumed. Forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Baden performed an independent autopsy and found a previously unnoticed skull fracture under the hairline, a blow before the fall. The fracture was small but unmistakable. New photographs were published. The New York Medical Examiner changed Olson's cause of death from suicide to undetermined. Federal prosecutors reopened a review. They interviewed witnesses. They read what remained of CIA cables. In 1996, however, federal lawyers announced they would not bring charges. They cited the passage of time, missing documents, and an inability to prove any homicide beyond a reasonable doubt. No one in the CIA was prosecuted. Sidney Gottlieb had died in 1999. Many of the men who'd ordered or run experiments were dead. The safest record was the settlement and an apology. The fallout ran deeper than one man's fall. There are images that linger. A biochemist's shoes on a sidewalk, a CIA memorandum with a list of drugs, a blacked-out line where a name once stood, a doctor testifying under oath while paper files are missing. Frank Olson was found dead. The government said suicide, forensic re-examination, and a fall that might never be fully explained. If a democracy can experiment on its own citizens in secret and then burn the records when the light comes, what else in the archive is a blank because someone decided it had to remain so.